Sims reported completely false. And that is something that Chris Sims was probably so pumped about, and now it's coming out that it wasn't true. Who knows if Dak and the Cowboys are anywhere near close to deal. But I do know that if Dak is to be a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, a wide receiver that he wishes he could throw a ball to is a Caucasian fella that runs like a gazelle. Ladies and gentlemen, Ty Schmidt's cousin or nephew was named after this man, former wide receiver, Jordy Nelson.
How you guys doing?
Jordy, how's that closet there with old AJ? I heard you're living in your sister's house at the moment, building a mansion out there. Good for you, Jordy.
Yes, we're reaping some of the benefits from the last 10 years. So in the process of getting the house built, this closet's beautiful. I feel like there's a heat lamp or a couple of them in here, so a little sauna going on.
Jordy, why did you pick the Hawk family to come help out? Is his wife just the greatest interior designer of all time? Is that how this goes?
That's what I've been told. So,
we got to prove it here.
I'll let you know in a couple months when the house is complete.
Congratulations on a new house out there in Kansas. There's a lot of people from Kansas tweeting that you're coming on the show today. You don't normally do interviews. I don't think I see a lot of Jordy Nelson, which I don't love, by the way. I wish I saw more of you. The question I want to ask you before AJ Hawk probably has some questions over there, and the boys. I think the boys are loaded with questions for Jordy Nelson. That story about his nephew being named after you is 100% true, by the way.
Yeah.
So the whole Schmidt family has some questions. I want to know what it was like for you when you show up at new teams in new locker rooms. In the first workout, when it's conditioning and running, and we've all been in professional locker rooms, when a white dude has jets, it is not a normal thing. But Jordy, you were this guy who you're on a field burning past folks. Deceptive speed means white dude who can run fast. What were the conversations? What were the conversations like whenever you got to a new team? Maybe it was the Raiders or maybe it was a new person at the Packers. Was there always an element of surprise? And have you always just been an incredibly fast dude, like even in high school?
I didn't have many conversations about that. Our DB coach, Joe Witt in Green Bay, would give a little heads up to the new DBs coming in. Yes, he's white, as you're saying, obviously, and but he can run. So they'd give him a little scouting report before we'd go hit OTAs or mini camp or training camp. So that was a conversation with them. I tried to stay out of it, and as long as people thought I was slow, it worked into my benefit come game day, and so it worked out well.
That DB coach being like, hey, listen, do not get got here, okay? This is not a normal Caucasian here, okay? You need to backpedal and flip those hips quickly. Do not get got by this. He has gotten a lot, by the way. Do not get – that is a hilarious thought.
Pat, hey, last night, so Jordy lives here. He's a legit farmer. His brother is a farmer/cowboy.
What?
So last night about 8:30, he said, hey, you want to go over? We're going to do some roping. And when he says we, not me, his brother and everybody. So last night until about midnight, I was at his brother's property in the arena he built, letting little calves go out through the chute, I guess, and they're chasing them down. And one of them's roping the horns, one of them's roping the heels. And then Jordy gets out there after he's roping and trying to basically break a wild horse, I watched him do. Jordy gets out there, and as they call it, he's bulldogging calves, grabbing them behind the horn. Show him your little cut. He's got a little cut on his arm already, if you can see it.
Oh, you got bulldogged by a cow down there.
Yeah, so Jordy's been bulldogging calves all night and got home about 12:30 and still able to come do this. It was pretty impressive.
So you're in the farm world right now as we speak. Was that always going to be like, hey, whatever happens with this football thing, at the end of the day, we're going to come back home or we're going to farm? Are you from a family of farmers? Is that how it's been?
Yeah, I grew up on a family farm. My grandpa started it years ago. Then my dad stayed on the farm after he got done with high school. And then so I grew up on the farm doing chores and working through the summer, and it was the plan at the end of football, whenever it was, or even if I wouldn't have made it, it was to probably do farming or help farm and do some coaching or whatnot. So I think it's a great way to raise kids. I need to get my kids on the farm because they're spoiled and need to learn how to work. And when we go outside to do stuff and they complain it's hot and it's only 80 degrees and I warn them it's going to get 20 degrees warmer, I give them a little warning there. So, no, it's just I like being out in the rural country, rural Kansas, working with my brother on the farm, helping him out with his family. He's got 4 girls that are all about the same age as our kids, so it's a good time.
It's a movie there. There's some sort of strength that comes from the farm, by the way.
Yeah.
I will never have because I grew up in a in a non-farm world. I wish. By the way, maybe grow up on a farm. Run a 4.2 if you need to.
Probably.
I mean, that's probably what happens. You start tackling calves, run 4.2. That Caucasian's a little bit different. This guy's been running with the wild animals his entire life. You got a question, Ty?
Yeah, I just it was tough when the Packers let you go. How hard was it adjusting when you went to the Raiders after you had your storybook franchise career with the Packers?
It was different for sure, especially for myself, who's not very outgoing, very kind of a shy guy until I'm around someone for a while. So it was different being out there. We enjoyed our year in California, and especially coming from Kansas, not thinking I would enjoy living a California life, but where we were able to live and it was fun. We enjoyed our year out there. Some of the people we met on the team were great, but it was definitely a little bit of a transition, especially for only being there a year. By the time you got kind of settled in, the season was over and thought you could, keep picking it up. But it was different. I definitely missed the guys. Tried to stay in contact with Devontae and Randall and Aaron and those guys that were still on the team. But yeah, it was definitely different than Oakland's different than Green Bay. We'll leave it at that.
The town is a little bit different than the village, but do you text with Aaron Rodgers still?
It's a one-way text.
You send, he doesn't answer? I'm currently in the middle of that right now. We are in a 3-day stare down on text messages. I just asked him, how you doing, pal? And I have not got an answer for 72 hours at this point. I'm not sure how long I'm supposed to wait before either deleting the messaging, deleting his number, or just kind of act like it's a normal thing.
Yeah, it's no. Just keep we should just keep resending.
Hey, bringing this back to the top of your text message chain, wondering if you missed this. I know you're busy over there. Did you sign back with the Packers and retire as a Packer? Did you do that, I'd assume?
Yeah, I retired as a Packer. Yeah, I went back there, did a press conference, was able to just end it where I began, and which was great. Mark Murphy gave me a call a couple of days after I announced that I was going to retire, and gave me that option to come back and do that. And so it was fun to go back and do that and just finalize everything and be done and be able to move on. Wasn't
there a thought that you were going to come back to the Packers after you left? Was there ever? And then I think there was a conversation. I don't know if you were having it, probably not, but other people were having it. Like,
I guess not for them. My guess is there was never a conversation about going back up there. If they would have called, it would have been very intriguing to go back. But there was never any conversation between me or my agent and them to do that.
Is John Gruden a cartoon character all the time, or just when the camera's on?
All the time. I mean, what you see on TV or on interviews, it might even be a little bit more extreme in meetings. He says some pretty random stuff. He does keep it entertaining. It's a little harder to fall asleep in those meetings, I think, for some people than others, because he's running the meeting, he's up talking, he has some unbelievable lines that he somehow creates, and so he did a good job, especially for the year that we had there. It was kind of a struggle, and obviously everyone's mindset not changed, but the season was different once they got rid of Khalil, and then we traded Amari, and it could have been a long year, but he kept it upbeat and kept everything positive and moving forward, which was greatly appreciated.
$90 million is a lot of money, man. Knock on wood if you're with me. That's what he said about Khalil Mack after he signed a $100 million deal. Very interesting. But the thought, why did you end up retiring? Were you just done with it? Was it injuries? What was it at the end of the year? Did you think you didn't have it anymore?
I think a lot of it was family. I went up and visited Seattle and had a great visit there. John Snyder contacted me when I got released by Green Bay, and I never made it out there for a visit. I went to Oakland and then just signed. And so they, contacted me again after I was released. So I went up there and talked to him. And my body feels great. And that was one reason why I wanted to retire. Honestly, I didn't want to push it another year and then not feel great. And then my family hadn't even been in California for a year, and we were going to have to box everything up and move to Seattle. And then once you start doing that, Seattle could have been 1 year, and then it would have been to Tennessee for 1 year, then Denver for, whatever. And I mean, my oldest is just finished 4th grade, so I didn't want to start bouncing him around everywhere. I was like, let's go home, get settled down. I've had my fun. I got 10 plus years in, so let's get home, settle down. It's time to focus on the kids and let them, get into sports back home.
Pat, I'll ask the question you want to ask, Pat, because
Okay.
I know.
Thank you.
I know how your weird brain works. So Jordy, let's say right now, obviously you look great. Jordy worked out right before this.
Oh, I can't even tell.
Looks, after he's been.
High expectations coming on this show.
Yeah.
Hey, me
After
too,
he's
by the
been.
way. Hey, Jordy, me too, pal.
Yeah.
Hey, here we go.
I think the one thing Jordy didn't do, he didn't have to sit in his office naked for 30 minutes to cool down before he came in the closet for his interview. So
There's a couple other things I think we might have some differences as well, but that is one noted difference from today, our days today. That is true.
that is one difference. But I wanted to ask Jordy something that Pat would definitely want to know. So it looks great, feels great, whatever. What if the Packers give you Ty Schmidt and Angry Mel Kiper both?
They
know
need a weapon.
Yeah.
They did not
Bad.
draft a wide receiver this year in the draft. Was kind of shocking. What happens? What's his name? What's the GM's name, Pat?
Gunther Kuntz. Hey, break the news here, Jordy. This is big for a Friday news dump. You just want to say it? I mean, we can definitely. Are you going back to the Packers if they give you a call? You still got it? You're out there tackling bulls right now?
Come on.
What are we doing, Jordy? We coming back in the game? Let's go, Jordy. Jordy feels good. Family loves Green Bay. You know Aaron very well. He trusts you. They need a weapon. Jordy Nelson's coming back to the Packers. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
You don't have a house, anyways.
Yeah, I think Chris Sims is going to report that.
That was going to be our moment. That was going to be our Chris Sims moment. Damn it. I was so pumped there, Jordy. I felt like we could have bullied you into coming out of retirement. I think we all thought we could have potentially peer pressured you into coming out of retirement there while you're sitting in the closet of your house in Kansas there, your sister's house.
Yeah. It definitely is warm in here, though.
You still throw the ball around? Yeah, with the kids? You said you were going to get into coaching. Is that something you will do, is stick in the game? Oh, here's a question I did have, actually. I'm sorry, pivot. Don't care if you're playing catch with the kids. I assume you are. You're a good guy, okay? The offenses, okay? The offenses that you're in. Aaron, Mike McCarthy, then you go and be a part of the Gruden's offense. Was it hard to pick up Gruden's offense? Because they say that thing's insane. There's another thing from Chris Sims. They talk about how that offense is insane to recap, like the amount of words and everything like that. Was it similar to what you had in Green Bay, or is there very obvious differences in the verbiage and everything like that between the two?
It was very similar. Some of the verbiage was different, so that was one of the hard parts of trying to delete everything that we had in Green Bay instead of saying, just so you could skip a step. To begin with, it was like, if they called dragon, but it was actually, lizard, instead of going, okay, lizard, dragon, so that means I have this. You had to delete that step. But I think one thing with Gruden, he adds so much week to week in a game plan that is completely different than like the normal set of offense. So he has his normal install that you would do during minicamp or whatnot. But then every week there's a whole nother downloaded system pretty much of, we're going to run this versus the Broncos. And then next week against the Chiefs, we're going to run all of these. So there's week to week, there's a lot of information that comes in. And I was able to handle it fine. It is difficult on some younger guys that just can't, I guess, comprehend as much or are overwhelmed by so much more that to be able to grasp it all. But sometimes there is a little bit of system overload.
Derek Carr gets a lot of heat. Is it warranted or not?
No, it's not. Guy's extremely smart, very talented, works extremely hard, can make the throws, does it all. I think he's been in a tough situation, I think similar to what Alex Smith dealt with the 49ers, of just constantly rotating through coaches and offensive coordinators, and which then means a whole new scheme. And, yeah, he's smart enough to pick it all up and be able to run it, but it's getting all the offensive linemen on the same page, getting all the running backs, the receivers, the tight ends, and then not to know too much about the Raiders, but it hardly seems like they keep a lot of guys for long term.
Yeah, it feels like that.
They're very short, so he's constantly dealing with new receivers. When I went there, I think there's one. Well, they ended up getting rid of Amari, so there's only one other receiver that he had played a game with, and then he had me and a couple other guys, and then the following year, all of us were gone, and he had a whole new group. So, then you compare that to Aaron in Green Bay, where he was in the same offense for 10 plus years. The same receivers that were there for 6-8 years at a time that slowly developed and figured out the system and got that chemistry going. So it makes a difference when you're not able to keep that chemistry from year 1 to year 8 to 10. And every 2 years, you're constantly swapping guys in and out to get any sort of rhythm.
Aaron said all the right things in his press conference. Do you think they're trying to run him out of town? Say
it
Jordy,
seems like they're
say
being
it.
prepared for it.
What's that?
Feel like they're being prepared for it.
I guess that is a smart move for the general manager to think about the future. You're a game away from the Super Bowl. That's not normal. Like, it's not normal to get to the NFC Championship. That's not something that happens all the time.
Yeah, I think just the way it all played out. I mean, like you said, they're one game away from the Super Bowl, trading up to get the quarterback. I think a lot of people compared it to Aaron's situation, but to me it's completely different. Aaron was debated to be the number 1 overall pick. To me, Jordan Love was not. So, and I said this in another somewhere else that it's like, I mean, we'll find out if it's a good pick in 4 or 5 years. I mean, if he pans out, I mean, if they have another transition like they did with Brett to Aaron and it's Aaron to Jordan, then I mean, hats off to him. But it's everyone's going to question it because they questioned Aaron's move too until it panned out.
AJ Hawk's entire family's there. How's that going?
It's great. The kids are having a blast. The noise level has increased, not just his kids, my kids as well.
Okay.
Luckily, we've had some good weather, so we shove them outside, find a trampoline, ride some bikes and scooters. So it's been good.
Hey, K-State, who'd they beat last? Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Are you the most notable Kansas State human of all time? I think you probably are, right?
No,
Darren Sproles.
Darren Sproles.
Sproles is from Kansas State?
When Sproles and I believe it's L. Roberson was the quarterback running back combo in NCAA, that was the team to play with.
Dangerous.
Damn, I didn't know that. And then they had that coach that was there for like 95 years. What was his name?
Coach Snyder, Bill Snyder.
Good guy, right? Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
says good guy. He recruited you, I assume.
Yes, he was there. He was the head coach when I first went there.
Were you recruited by anybody else, or were you just this farm kid from Kansas and nobody else could really find?
The only scholarships I had were two Division II schools here in Kansas, and I walked on at K-State.
Wow. Come out of retirement, Jordy.
Look at this guy, AJ! Are you kidding me? All right, Jordy, so you're not going to play for the Packers again?
Yes, I am.
Let's go.
I got to cut the show. We got to cut that. We got to send that out somewhere.
Clip it.
We got to clip that. Somebody clip it.
Say that.
Jesus, is Gunther Kuntz going to sign him? We don't know. We honestly don't know. It's going to be a tough negotiation, but Jordy said he's ready in the closet that he's in his sister's house. Go ahead, Diggs.
Jordy, we talk a lot on the show about how we're Rust Belt kind of guys. We're from the Rust Belt area. So, do you think AJ or us, we could survive on a farm, or is that just a different kind of guy?
Go ahead.
I think you guys could. AJ, he came back a few summers ago, about 5 years ago, to help with our benefit, playing the golf tournament and whatnot. So we had him out there farming, put some mud boots on him. He was in the pen, slopping through some cow crap and sorting some cattle and whatnot.
AJ
So
had some shit kickers on out there in Kansas.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Like, I
Oh,
wish
you
I
guys
was.
froze.
I
Hold on,
respect
AJ.
the
You guys
horses.
froze there. We
The
missed you
animals are
there.
just not my thing.
Hey, AJ, we didn't know you were a cowboy, too. You're a Rust Belt kind of guy. Didn't know you're getting in the fucking mud out there with the cows and the pigs.
Wow. I mean, I'm just kind of standing there. The good thing is I'm really good at opening gates. And when these guys are on horses, they need a gate opened. I'm pretty good at that.
Are you like a very skilled horse rider, equestrian?
me?
Yeah.
No.
What?
Don't be.
Hey, he says that because it's like there's levels of everything, I think, because his brother's a legit cowboy. Jordy had a horse last night that the old horse JD, wasn't really listening and kept sidestepping him. So what do you have to, is it punishing him? What do you got to do? You got to tire him out. He tired him out. Jordy rode this dude around the arena like 10 laps at a time. The thing is going full clip as fast as he possibly can at an angle sideways. And I was scared for Jordy watching
Wow,
this
he's
happen.
football
And it
ready.
happened every single time he stepped up to the plate to go run down a calf. It was pretty cool.
So what do you got to do? You got to punish the horse like in football, like run sprints. Like, listen, you want to be an ass? Go ahead and we're going to hit the circles, pal. Go ahead and get that energy out of you. Is that is an everyday thing in the life of Jordy Nelson at this point?
No, not an everyday thing, but it's just something that my brother does a lot of it. He'll do some what they call ranch rodeos and stuff in Kansas, and so since we've been back, and I go out and help him. He uses horses quite a bit on the farm, moving cattle, sorting cattle. So I just try to get more and more comfortable on him, learning to rope. That way, if we need to go get one that got out or one that we can't catch, we can go rope it and then load it up on the trailer. So just trying to be more handy.
You ever ride a bull?
No.
You never did that.
No.
I I thought that's what Cowboys did. I see the Wranglers sponsor it all the time. The Cowboys just hop on the bull and then they kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, those guys are. It's kind of crazy if you ask me.
So you've never been on bull?
No.
Is there any bulls in the area to get on?
No, not like those.
I think I want to ride a bull at some point. I don't know about the horse thing and the calf thing, but I think I do want to strap myself on top of a bull and see how it goes.
The horse thing would be a lot easier than bull riding.
But aren't the horses like they're legitimately? We had a girl in our school who
My cousin.
I'm more scared of horses, I think, than bulls. To be honest, I think we had a girl in our school ride on a horse. Somebody drove by, hit a horn. Horse says, "Yeah," whatever it does. She ends up getting paralyzed. That was like whenever we were children. So my first story about a horse, somebody hopping on the back of a horse from where we're from, not normal. Somebody got paralyzed. I'm like, well, never hopping on the back of that son of a bitch. I'll tell you that. Never going to do that. But the bull, I feel like, is completely okay.
What does a bull do when they open the gate when you're on their back?
Well, if you don't kick them too hard, they kind of just walk around.
That is false. I don't know what rodeo you've been watching on TV, but
You ever see one of the miniature bulls, Jordy? Like the little miniature bucking bulls? You ever see those things?
no.
I might be more of a cowboy than Jordy at this point. What type of farm do you have? Is it like bean, corn?
Yeah, we got wheat, soybeans, corn, silage, alfalfa, a little bit of everything. And then my brother runs about 1,000 head of cattle or more.
Now, I've heard from my farm sources that we're potentially in a boom where we have too much product. There's too many farms, too much meat, too much this, which means in a couple years we're probably going to see where people fall out because businesses fall out. In a couple years we're going to be short on stuff. Am I right in thinking that?
I honestly don't know.
Damn it.
I think there's plenty of people to eat stuff. I think we just need to keep eating food from America.
Hey, Jordy! Hey, let's keep eating food from America, AJ. AJ, I know you've been eating food from other places. Let's keep our food domestic, pal. You hear me?
Yeah, he was speaking to me. That's what he was doing. He was taking a shot at me.
Yeah.
Well, you get that Kobe beef from over in
Japan.
Japan.
Nice job, AJ.
Wagyu, that's all you've been eating over there, AJ.
Wagyu.
Yeah, it's me. Hey, who makes your PMI merchandise? Is that made in America?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, geez,
Yes.
obviously.
Check the tag, AJ.
Check the tag. We
is
also, to be
Probably
honest,
printed. It's printed in America. Where's that shirt made?
no,
in
somebody
America.
showed it
Made in America.
New York, I think, or Ohio. But the problem is we're having a bit of a delay
Oklahoma.
on Oklahoma, it says.
Oh,
How about
hey,
that?
AJ.
Oklahoma. But the issue that we're actually having with the store is because we are an American operation, quarantine came choked out all the jobs, so we have a little bit of a delay in the delivery and the creation. So we might have to push our Memorial Day sale back, which you're not happy about because we're such an American-made operation.
All right. Well, then I should stop eating international, right? Just all domestic.
Now, I have a question, Jordy.
more
Does
station.
Taco Bell count? Or, like, am I allowed to eat Taco Bell, Jordy? Is that okay? Or
I don't know. I think I've had Taco Bell once in my life.
oh, so you eat like super healthy? I would assume that's why you're the fastest white dude around because you eat super healthy. You do the whole nutrition thing. Is that accurate?
No.
Really?
I just eat, I don't eat bad, but I don't like necessarily have a certain diet that I follow. I think just growing up, we always ate steak and potatoes on the farm.
Hey, protein and carbs. Let's go. Let's get it.
Potatoes kind of guy.
Yeah, you're damn
Always
right.
was.
Steak and potatoes guy. Hey, lunch
Smart.
pail guy right
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
This is the guy you want on your squad.
That's why we loved him.
The nearest Taco Bell is probably what, like 8 states away?
Probably. To at least
wow.
go over to, I don't even know.
I'm not
what's
familiar
near
with the north.
Kansas.
I'm
I
not
have no
familiar with
idea.
it.
I know there's a
Topeka's
Manhattan.
probably in Topeka, if I had to guess.
It'd be Manhattan. It'd be 20 minutes.
Oh, you're 20 minutes from Manhattan, Kansas?
Yes.
Left, up, right?
We are slightly northwest, pretty much straight north of Manhattan.
Upper left. All right, got it.
Jordy, AJ's a guy that's given us a lot of motivational speeches on this show. Was
Yeah.
he just the greatest teammate of all time or what?
Yeah, especially in the locker room. Is that his thing? Was he the guy that spoke to the team before the games and stuff?
Yes, AJ would ask Coach McCarthy to speak before majority of the games in the locker room, bring
thought
everyone
so.
up. Probably pretty much just flip everyone off and say, let's go.
Were you a vocal guy out there? Did you chirp or you were very quiet?
Very quiet, very quiet. Actions speak louder than words.
Oh, man. Did any corners try to chirp you a little bit?
Oh, no.
He'll be back.
There he is. You're back.
No.
Hey,
Good.
did any corners ever try to, like, what corner was the most, I wouldn't say chirpy, but was there any corners that were trying to get you a little bit?
No, not really. I never had one corner that really tried to talk trash or get in my head or mess with me at all. Don't know why, but I always assumed it was because it wasn't very enjoyable to have a one-way conversation because I wouldn't say anything back, so they'd just be talking to themselves. So I assume it's more enjoyable when someone reacts and talks back a little bit.
What was a corner that you were surprised that gave you problems?
A lot of the ones that gave me problems were the longer ones, taller and longer arms, like Richard Sherman or I think it's Jimmy Smith. I think they played for the Ravens a little bit. So those guys were a little bit more of an issue than obviously the shorter, quicker ones weren't a big deal, but the taller, longer, stronger ones gave me a little problem.
Was that when you and Aaron created that back shoulder? That back shoulder throw, which everybody does now, I feel like you guys didn't create it, but I think you guys took advantage of it the most there. It really started rolling out whenever they were hitting. I mean, it was awesome. It changed the game completely. Was that something that you guys knew you were going to do? Were doing in practice? What was the concept, the idea there?
So that's probably the biggest misunderstanding is that people think that's like an actual play, like 200 jet back shoulder. No such thing. It kind of just evolved. So after we won the Super Bowl, we had a good run through the playoffs, and then the following year we went 15-1. We were extremely explosive on offense. We were hitting a bunch of deep balls, winning over top, winning on the go balls. So then the adjustment for the DB is to play on the top shoulder. Like they would give us everything underneath, but they wouldn't get beat deep. So then the adjustment was to still run to win, try to win over top, and then Aaron would just read it. If the DB was on top, he would throw it at his helmet, and then by the time the ball got there, it'd be to our back shoulder. So for us, it was just timing-wise, knowing if it was a 3-step or a 5-step or 7-step of when we need to have our head around to see where the ball was coming from. But every time you'd go, you'd run to win and then just react to the ball.
That changed the game there. Those things were beautiful, too. Not every quarterback can do it.
No, it's a lot of thinking within it because, like I said, it's as he's doing his drop, he's got to read the DB and where he's at, and then be able to put the ball in a spot and throw it, with good enough touch that you can still have time to react to. Because it can be thrown too fast where by the time you turn around, the ball's behind your head, and everyone obviously blames the receiver for that. But
Bingo.
So there's definitely timing with it, like I said, both on the quarterback and receiver to know, like, the play clock in your head and everything of when the ball's going to be out.
Favorite routes to go ball, huh?
I think my favorite route that we ran and connected on was our corner post that we ran with big boot, full protection, nod to the corner, and then hit the post. And we connected probably 5 to 10 times for touchdowns on those.
How many against the Lions, you think?
Come on.
Probably a handful.
It's uncalled for.
Biggest Lions fan on earth is in this room right here. Nobody understands what he's doing.
Yeah, you're a nightmare, Jordy.
Hey, Pat, I got one question before Jordy has to man the 7 to 12 kids out there while we finish the show up. A follow-up we didn't get to. I always wanted, and I've asked you this, I think, on the show. Jordy, why does, I guess, mainstream media try to say that Derek Carr is not a Gruden guy? Or they're like they don't have a good match. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. My guess is for as animated and, I mean, you see Gruden on the sideline where I assume if it was mic'd up, there'd be a lot of beeping going on, and you wouldn't really understand what he's saying. And Derek's more of a calmer, obviously Christian dude that is not going to cuss anyone out or do anything like that. So I think their two demeanors and personalities might clash, but they honestly get along great. I mean, it's a good balance. There's a couple times when I was there they got a little fiery at each other, but, that happens with everyone, especially when you're coming right off the field after, if you made a check or did something and it didn't work or didn't make a check or whatever, everyone overreacts within the first 2 seconds of the play. And, by the time they watched film on Monday, everyone was back to square one. But the one thing I think that works great with those two, like I said earlier, Derek is extremely smart and puts in so much time and work that he can handle everything Gruden's throwing at him. So that's one thing I think Coach Gruden had to adjust to. Like, if he would see something on film, he'd tell Derek, hey, like, if we get this look, let's go to this. Well, Derek would remember that. Come game time, he'd get that look. He'd go to it.
What are you doing,
Obviously,
man?
if it worked, it was great. And if it didn't work, Gruden would flip out and be like, "What'd you do that for?" He's like, "Well, you told me on Wednesday that if they went to this book to do this, so we did it."
That's beautiful. Hey, Jordy, I hope to be on your farm someday, pal.
You guys are welcome to come out to Kansas whenever.
Well, we're going to wait till your house is finished. We want to see the mansion, obviously.
Okay, perfect.
We'll-
That'll work.
we'll
It's a
drive-
great place for quarantine out here in the middle of nowhere where not very many people are around. So
I was about to ask, you got 12 kids out there. There probably isn't a coronavirus victim within 7,000 miles of where you're at right now, I'd assume?
there's some in Manhattan, but we've had, I think they said the other day, there were 60 cases in our county, and they're pretty much all in Manhattan. So there hasn't been any out where we live.
Well, stay safe because, week 8, week 9, the Packers need a weapon.
Little playoff push.
Playoff push. The farm boys out there tackling calves and racing horses still. Let's get them back into green and yellow.
Sounds like a plan.
Favorite musician?
Garth Brooks.
Oh, okay. What about Chris
Gaines. Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines. You ever heard of Chris Gaines?
No, am I supposed to?
Oh, we just ruined Garth Brooks for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordy Nelson. Tell him to look up Chris Gaines, AJ. Tell him to look up Chris Gaines immediately after exiting that closet right there.
Here, Jordy's got to find a way out of here.
Oh, it's frozen anyways.
Hit the router.
There you go.
Hey, you're a
Thanks,
good
Jordy.
guy, Jordy. Hey, he's a good dude.
What's up? Great guy.
He's gonna Google Chris Gaines right now, and it's gonna be tough for him.
It's gonna break his heart. I feel bad.
It really is. I feel bad that we did that because we had such a good conversation with him, and
Yeah.
then on the way out, we just ruined Santa Claus.
He
Basically.
might break that door down coming back in.
Did you see him? Hey, Pat, I don't know if you saw it. When you mentioned Chris Gaines, Jordy, that he dropped the mic a little bit and he kind of looked at me like really worried, like he wasn't really sure. And I'm like, well, you're going to be even more upset and distraught than Chris Gaines was.
Hey, he's a good guy. He didn't tell me cool glasses, but he's a really. I liked him a lot.
Oh yeah, he's awesome, man. Of course, but I'm telling you, last night it was an eye opener to see them roping these. It's just a different world, man. I have so much respect for horses and animals and all that, and I don't know how they do it. I really don't. It's amazing.
I have a friend. One of my roommates in college is currently on a farm in West Virginia, and he's got I don't know how many head of cattle. He does the corn. He's got chicken houses. I mean, the whole thing. And I watch his Instagram stories. I'm like, "Gee, so much tougher than I am. Just so much tougher than 6 a.m. Those cows need some water or something. He's out there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the farm life is not one that I think I could keep up with. And that makes sense, by the way, that Jordy is a farmer. I mean, that makes 100%. I did not know that, and I feel dumb for not. But what a football player that dude was.
Yeah, he's a stud. I got a picture somewhere I'll send you when I find it. When I came here like 5 years ago, I was on a horse, and Jordy was leading me around because I wasn't even good enough to lead the horse myself. So Jordy had it on a little rope in front of me, and he was leading me around the house.
The house?
Outside the house.
Oh, jeez. I was about to say, what type of farm we got here? We got a farm going on.
They got a couple. Like I bottle fed a little cow last night that guy's getting bottle fed because I guess his mother disowned it or whatever, however that works.
Rejected it.
Jesus.
Sometimes they reject it. You get outside you get outside the herd. You can't always get back. That's why we're worried about the baby raccoon getting back in with Bandit.
Cow life is
Feel Good
ruthless.
Friday, AJ.
Uh-oh.
Here he is. Thank you, Jordy.
Oh, look.
Jordy!
See? My chair is messing it up.
No, you're good. We can see it.
Jordy!
Your back elbow's too high.
My back elbow's too high.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Can you see him?
Wow, great stance.
I saw a video of you taking a softball maybe a quarter mile.
Yeah, I love playing slow pitch softball. That's what we do in the summertime.
Well, you just played on one of the 1,000 acres you have out there in Kansas?
That and the different tournaments around in small town Kansas.
He took over the charity softball game in Green Bay in Appleton, Wisconsin that Brett Favre had and Donald Driver, and then Jordy was the host.
Oh, so you're like a beer league softball guy. Like, we get into softball real competitive, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, there's guys that can throw like knucklers and stuff, isn't there? That we had a beer league softball team that was at the local bar that we would always run into.
Big Dogs.
Big Dogs, House of Big Dogs. And they had this one pitcher that would sit at the end of the bar. Everybody would send him drinks because he was so good at the beer league softball. He said he could make it like knuckle and move and stuff like that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there's pitchers that can throw knuckleballs. Slow pitch style.
Are you ASA or U trip?
I think we usually played U-trip.
Oh wow.
Oh, this is like deep.
What position in the field are you?
Are you pitcher? What do you do?
No, left field or left center.
In U trip, they can pump fake.
Yes.
It's very
annoying.
insane.
So is there a height? You can't go too high, right? It has
No, they have a smaller arc in U trip, so it's coming in like super fast. Like
so they're just throwing you BP with a big fat ball in there.
Yeah, there's like a minimum height and maximum height that the ball has to arc when it pitches in. Yeah.
Competitive? This is competitive softball, yeah?
Yeah. AJ saw my championship T-shirt I was wearing when they came here on Thursday.
Got the T-shirt. When's our next game?
I might be putting one on in Manhattan, a celebrity one next year.
ooh,
What's your favorite gap to hit it into?
Yeah, are you a dragger?
No, pull it right center field.
Yep. Dead red. Sitting dead red or what?
Yeah. Hit it and run.
I don't know. Is there a limit on how many home runs you're allowed to hit?
It varies on where you play. Some of them, like you can play in some leagues that there's no home runs. Some will be like 5 home runs and then they become doubles. Some are 5 home runs and they become outs.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a metal bat or a wooden bat?
Metal.
Oh, I only use wooden bat. Sorry, Jordy.
Hey, I do want to put on a wood bat softball tournament though. I think that'd be fun.
That hurts.
Wouldn't that make it much, much worse?
It'd make it harder. You'd actually have to know how to play softball. Now the bats and balls are so juiced up that anyone can hit them out.
I struck out one celebrity softball game. No big deal. It was my last at bat in a softball game.
Ooh, that's rough.
It was. I had to walk it off, go into the dugout, and then I got kicked out of the game the next inning by fighting the ump. It was a celebrity. It was a charity game. I got kicked out. It was headline. It was the front page of the newspaper the next day. It was me in the face of the umpire, and I got kicked out in the middle of the charity game. It was actually a smart move. I would recommend it to everybody that's forced to play in a charity celebrity game. You get out there before the autographs.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Thank you, Jordy. Thank you, man. I think I'm a
Yep,
lefty,
see you,
by
guys.
the way. I think I'm a lefty. I think.
It looks natural. You got your hands up, but not your elbows so high.
How the?
You can come down. I'm teaching my boys. They're in baseball and t-ball this summer. So
Is this it, Jordy?
not straight-legged. You'll watch Ken Griffey Jr. That's the
That's
swing
who
you
I
want.
do. That's what my swing is, Jordy.
He's trying to swing.
Let's see the swing. No. That's Griffey.
Take a full cut. We need to see it.
I can't. I broke the TV last time.
Don't matter. You have tons of money. Just do it.
All right.
Here you go. Hey,
Looks like you tried to find an animal to hit with that bat.
Somebody pitched me the ball.
Here you go.
Softball.
Oh! It's gone!
Did you see that? Are you kidding me, Jordy? Uno Moss.
But if you want to swing like Griffey, though, it's about the follow through.
There you go. Pitch coming in.
Oh! Gone. Gone.
Walk off.
See ya.
You got to have a bat flip though.
Oh yeah, you're right. Had to do it. All right. Can't wait to beat your game, Jordy. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. Take care.
Will you have a home run rule, or will I be able to just hit 10 of them?
No, they're in celebrity games. There's no home run rules.
Okay, so I can just hit 10 home runs if I need to?
Yeah, the fans come to watch home runs.
Okay, I mean, that's what I'm there for. Are we doing a home run derby beforehand, maybe?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take all the steroids before this thing, too. Are you testing or no?
No, it's open.
I'm going to get on to that same stuff that some of your horses are on, from what I've heard. I'm
There
going
you go.
to get going and really out there start thinging it.
Elbow up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordy Nuts. What a show, dude.
Oh.
This might be the dumbest show of all time.
Big baseball show.
Hey, Joe, where were you standing there? In the clothes?
Yeah, I was standing hidden in the coats, holding the mic.
Are you out there all weekend? When are you heading back? Sunday?
Now we're heading back tomorrow sometime. It's a long drive, so we might take 2 days on the way home.
Where are you stopping at?
Ooh.
Hey, you know what's hilarious? my wife was like, "Oh, we could time it up. Maybe you could stop in and see Pat on the way there."
What's a good idea?
Why didn't you? Why don't you?
Well, it was too late now. It'd be on the way home, and that's just not going to happen.
I don't want to see your stupid kids anyway.
That's why I didn't do it, because I know how you feel about kids. You're a sociopath, and you don't know how to feel, so they would bug you.
I've come around. Remember, I cried with my cat the other day. Remember,
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're a
big step.
big softy.
I'm starting to feel feelings. It's a big deal here at 33. It's a big deal.
Hey, for real though, Pat, what I was going to say when Jordy was here, if he does have an event, I'll come back with you. If you want some stuff to film, we'll go out to the arena with his brother, and we'll bulldog some calves. We'll try it, me and you and Jordy.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll bulldog
And then we'll
them.
play, and then we play in his softball game.
Oh,
We got to get that boss insurance before that happens.
the Keyman insurance. We should probably already have that, by the way. That's something we should probably think about having. I assume CFFL is already looking into that.